All right, everyone. We're back. Episode 106. Oh no, we're on 105, I believe. This week we got some good episodes lined up for you. Today, we're gonna continue with the ESPN top 10 lists. Last week he touched on quarterbacks because that was the most recent list that came out. They finished position groups, so we're just gonna go in order. So today we got running backs and we got D tackles. But first, we're gonna touch on some Team USA and a little bit of basketball news. So, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. We're back. Time to talk about some NFL, but first, like I said, we got some Team USA and some basketball news to cover. So, first up, if you guys didn't know already, Team USA played their final, I guess, friendly exhibition game, whatever you want to call it, today versus Germany. Almost lost again. If you guys didn't watch the game, I believe it was what, Friday or Saturday, Lawrence? The U.S. almost lost to South Sudan as well, won by 1 point off a Goat James layup, game-winning layup. So three close games because of the Canada game was kind of close as well. Three close games for Team USA. Lawrence, after all these friendlies, is there any doubt left in your mind, or do you think USA is just going to run away with this one?
I feel like the USA needs to play with their lineup a little bit. I still believe that like a Bam and Davis combo and a starting unit is a little bit more effective than Embiid. I just don't feel like Embiid's fully back, fully ready to be back. I think something you said the other day that he got promised a certain amount of minutes, and they have to figure out a way to honor it and work around it. I feel like that's very apparent. I mean, he kind of did better today against Germany, but I mean, Germany kind of tried to play the big in the middle instead of like the rest of the teams who kind of just said, screw that, we're going to move around a lot. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to say the team's cooked because obviously, it's USA. They can almost always win. You're not really feeling like, that's the best way to put it. You're not really feeling dream team-esque from this team. Even though this team literally could be, on paper, better than the dream team, you just don't see it on the court for some reason.
Yeah, I agree. They put a clinic against Serbia, which surprised me. I thought Serbia's, arguably the top two or three team that's going to play in the Olympics between them and France. And Germany's in the mix too. But they put a clinic against, Joker and all the Serbians, even though there was a close first half, and then the U.S. just kind of pulled away. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think Embiid was just guaranteed to start and guaranteed a certain, allocation of minutes. And then after last episode, Steve Kerr basically came out and said, yeah, our starters, our for sure starters are going to be LeBron, Steph, and Embiid going forward. So they just been tinkering with the other two spots between Tatum, Drew, Holiday, Devin Booker, and Ant-Man's kind of getting some of the nods. So, yeah, Embiid played well today. He had a really great block against, I think it was Franz Wagner, and LeBron or Ant-Man took it to the house. But I think they're fine. But the games that count are the medal rounds. So our group is Serbia, Puerto Rico, and South Sudan. So we just gotta make it out the group. I think the best team out the group gets the automatic bid, and then after that, then I think it's just the next best three, right? Or something like that. Because I think 8 teams go to the top two teams in the group go, and then the next two best. I think 8 teams make the Olympic tournament, so I'm not too worried about the U.S. being one of the 8.
Well, I'm not worried about
But
US not making it. I'm pretty confident next time in the middle stages, they play South Sudan, it's not even gonna be close. I think they're going to kill them the next time around. But I don't know. It's just not the team. expected. I do think Anthony Edwards should stay on the starting unit. Um, I feel like he just is more energetic. Um, he's more active off ball, and I feel like the only one matching his energy off ball is Devin Booker.
I agree. I think yeah, he should probably stick with that. I'm all for Anthony Davis starting, but if Embiid's just gonna get the nod, then just keep that AD Bam combo on the second unit. Second unit for the most part has been the better unit. So uh, if they ever need a jump start, the second unit's gonna be there. And then KD hasn't even played yet, bro. Like he's cleared to play, but he hasn't played in any of the friendlies. So I think this team will look a little bit different when KD actually gets to play. I don't know if he's going to start. I'm assuming he will, but I think the team will look a lot better once he gets on the court.
Well, I hope so, but
Uh,
KD can only do so much. However, KD could probably beat a whole some of these countries by himself.
yeah, KD's definitely a baller. USA definitely needs him after these two close games. Let's pivot over to one more thing. Summer League is to championship is tonight. Your very own Heatles versus the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are actually favored, I think, by 5 points. Even though Zach Edey isn't playing. And they've released the All Summer League team. Um, K Ware was on it. I think Reed Shepard was on it as well. Um, let's see. Here we go. Summer League honors. Uh, well, this is the wrong thing. But Lawrence, have you watched any summer league, and are you surprised of Reed doing well, K Ware doing well?
No.
Some of these
Well,
rookies.
I'm definitely not surprised that Reed is doing well because he did pretty good at Kentucky. He's one of the few
Yeah.
guys that was consistent on that Kentucky team that bounced early in the NCAA tournament. Um, I mean, I'm not surprised the Heat are doing good. I don't know. I follow this one guy, and he was putting out there how to bet on summer league games, and you pretty much do it based on who has like the best, second year guys playing, maybe some third year guys, or some guys who are like, young guys who are, built to be looking like journeymen, or guys who got some good looks first year in the league coming off the bench and stuff like that. So honestly, I've actually been betting Grizzlies and Heat spreads and money lines consistently throughout this whole summer league, just
Uh,
from good takes I've heard. It worked out. I mean, I didn't lose a single Heat bet. I definitely lost one spread, and that was on me betting it through the game. And I think it went up to like I want to say 7.5, and they won by 7. That was just on me getting a little greedy. I thought they were gonna do a little bit more. They slowed down a
mhm,
little bit,
mhm.
still won the game, still covered the spread of 4.5. So that was on me. But for the most part, those two teams have been outstanding at making money during for betting purposes. And who else was it? The Clippers, which made last night's game or the other night's game pretty important. But I think the big thing is it's getting people some shots around the league because I never really watched summer league until I unfortunately learned I could bet on it. But Scottie Pippen not really starting for the Lakers last year and then showing out a little bit kind of makes you
Yeah.
wonder what you're kind of missing on the bench. That like all those games you're looking for just something, and he was just sitting there, and you didn't even think to give him a look, a gander, just throw him out there in a game that didn't matter. I don't know. Maybe that's why you lost your job.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this first team summer league. These guys played well. GG Jackson was a revelation for the Grizzlies last season after they had us, basically play most of their games with their G League players. So this is great for them. Great. Summer league's great for development, and although most of the time this doesn't translate to the regular season, it's just good to know that, the guys that you draft, or the guys that you scout can actually play. So, they're like, developmental pieces that you can move forward with, not just an average Joe. So that's good. Let's go finally to actually no, one more thing,
Oh,
guys.
one more thing. One
TNT
more thing.
TNT apparently not apparently, they announced today that they matched one of the TV rights packages. Now, everyone's assuming it's going to be the Amazon Prime one because it's the lowest, but the NBA might try to fight this. Um, both sides are lured up. Um, so we'll see. My best guess is this goes to court, and inside the NBA is probably just going to go. I mean, court takes forever, so honestly, inside the NBA might just announce the last season, and then who knows if they actually win or not, they'll bring it back. But Charles always said he's going to retire, so I don't even know if this is really going to. Them waiting for the last minute is really going to change things for Charles. So I don't know. What do you think, Lawrence?
Well, I mean, once I learned that Charles was retiring, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know about you, but Kenny the Jet Smith ain't making me hang around. The only one that's making me hang around is Shaq. But if Shaq doesn't have anyone to bicker with, I don't.
Yeah,
It's not really the same show.
yeah. Not the same without Chuck. So I don't know. Maybe they get their stuff together and they actually, take the deal from Amazon. But honestly, I like the deal that they had in place because I mean we were going to get national TV games every day of the week. It wasn't going to be the random NBA TV games anymore. It was going to be NBC had a couple nights, of course ESPN has Wednesday and Friday, Saturday, and then Amazon had all the other days. So I was actually pretty hyped for this. But uh, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with this? All right, let's go to the NFL. I promise this time. Top 10 running backs. No surprise here. McCaffrey's number one. C-Mac. He got an extension too. I think so. He's definitely the highest paid running back now. I think he got a 2-year extension, right, Lawrence? No surprises here, right?
No, and there's no shock that McCaffrey's number one. I
Yeah,
mean,
pretty much
he's
is.
promised. He's probably what is it? Fantasy football number one overall pick again. So
Yeah, I made the not so smart choice of not drafting him last season because I thought he'd get injured again. But for the 49ers, they've kept him relatively healthy. So, and he's been their workhorse. Like, he's just doing everything. So, it's very, very impressive. Number two, Brees Hall coming back off of ACL. Lawrence, do you think Brees Hall deserves his spot at number two?
um, yes, mainly because his ability to run last year behind an O line that was probably one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
And he said his
Yeah.
numbers based if you inflate it to um, taking into account how horrible his O line was, he was ranking about five, and that was him coming off an ACL injury. And towards the end of the season, he was really starting to take off. And that's also with the idea of having no passing game as well. You know, so you gotta look at that one. No one thought Zach Wilson was anything special. So Brees Hall got all the running yards he could, and he made the most of all of them. And I think the reason why they're inflating him a little too much to make a number two, I personally don't think he's quite at number two, but I can understand how. O line's going to get
Mhm.
better. The passing game is going to be more effective because all the wide receiver weapons and Aaron Rodgers giving him more ability to get um, confusion to the defense, allowing him to get more yards. So I understand why Bryce Hall is as high as he is. Do I totally agree with it? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but like you said, it's probably a little inflated just because of what the situation was with the Jets last year. But I think this is like a 50-50, that plus just projecting what he's going to do this year with, all the things you just said. So I guess if you take that into consideration, I think it's fine enough. Nick Chubb, number three, towards ACL last year. Uh, any problems with this, Lawrence?
No, because we're getting. we're putting him in this place because of what we think he'll bounce back to. If you look at his gym videos working out, I mean, he's already
Yeah.
squatting big weight again. So he'll come back, and if he comes back, half the man he was, well, half the man he was is still good for number three in my opinion because he's just an absolute god on that football field running it.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Saquon's number 4 on the new team. A lot of people say that he, made Daniel Jones, and I'm probably one of those people. Lawrence, do you think he is right at number 4?
Um, yes and no. I mean, kind of more so yes than no. I don't know. I mean, I just think Saquon as a running back, yes and no. But like, I don't really know how to develop my words and how I want to say he is a yes and a no. It's just kind of hard. I do believe that he has the ability to be it. I just never seen him be amazing game in, game out, consistently, and not hurt. Then again, you could say the same for Brees Hall. So
Yeah, he was, as you can see right here, he was hurt, had an ankle situation for most of the year. And the Giants, let's be honest, their offensive line last year was atrocious, so I'm not surprised that he, had a dip in his production. But that's just happens sometimes. JT, number 5, uh, Colts running back. I think last year he had a little. Was it last year that had the contract dispute, right?
yeah, that's what it
So
started out, and the year before he got hurt.
yeah, so number 5, I think is fair for Taylor. What do you think?
I mean, I'll keep him there. I think probably at his age, the moment is probably a little bit more effective, and in fact, that Bijan is going to have a coach that's not going to overlook the fact that they have a outstanding running back is also going to help him.
Yeah, speaking of Bijan, he's number 6. So I think those two are fine where they are. Number 7, Josh Jacobs, moved to the Packers. Packers got rid of Aaron Jones. Jacobs, is going to look to have a bounce back year after, I think, what 2 years ago he led the league in rushing. Lawrence, how you feel about Josh Jacobs at number 7?
See, this is where earlier saying yes and no for Saquon. I'm okay with it for JT. This guy, Josh Jacobs, I easily thought could be above both of them in terms of what he's done more recently on a pretty bad Oakland team.
Yeah.
And you can tell that it was a pretty bad Oakland team. Now it's getting gutted, even though they just kind of had like a coming to life at the end of the season last year. The new coach, everyone seemed like
Yeah.
they liked him. Everyone seemed bought in, and now the whole team is pretty much pancaked and flip flopped all the way.
Yeah, he did the best with what they had because last year, with the whole Josh McDaniels firing and then AP bringing that team back to life, just a lot going on. So number 7, I think, is a fair ranking, but you could argue, like you said, he could be way higher. Gibbs, 8, I feel like it's fair. Him splitting carries with what's his name in Detroit, Montgomery.
Kind of hurts him.
I feel like this is a yeah, it kind of hurts him. So I feel like this is fair. How you feel?
I feel like he's a little too high. He's not. I mean, he's not his team's true number one. I mean, in my opinion, he should be the number one, but he just wasn't.
Yeah,
Maybe they wanted to give him a year to work into it, but it's just hard to put Derrick Henry hard to put Derrick Henry behind him at number 9 when Derrick Henry was a true workhorse last year at his age, and you think about what he's going to do this year at the Ravens with a running quarterback, a mobile quarterback, probably for the first time. I mean, he's going to have wide open lanes, and he's going to get probably into the secondary more often than he's gotten into the secondary before, which we might be looking at the most pile drives to the ground by a forearm than we have seen the entire league before.
yeah. Gibbs above King Henry. Don't agree with. It's a little disrespectful. Even like you said, Gibbs is not even the number one option. So Henry at 9, I have a problem with. 10, ETN. I feel like it's fine. I feel like Jacksonville doesn't really rely on him all too much. But I feel like he's good for what he does.
I feel like he's a little slept on from what he can do and what he's shown
Mm.
he's able to do. I think I could take him or leave him there. I feel like he's not a focal point on his own team, but he does have all-star performances every 4 or 5 games. Um, and then you look at the honorable mentions right here below it. It's like Kenneth Walker is just a rookie. It's hard to put him above him. Aaron Jones kind of battled injury all last year. Kind of has already battled injury most of his career. He never gets past like that halfway point. And then Pacheco, I mean, you'll see Pacheco is just the same thing as ETN, but unable to catch in that outfield. Pacheco will have a game here and there, be consistently good, but just not weren't enough merit to get that exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I would move anyone from the honorable mentions into the top 10. In the receiving votes, same thing. I don't think any of these guys, moves the needle enough for me. So all good stuff right there. Moving on to D tackles, Chris Jones. I mean, this is undisputed. He's the best D tackle. Probably 2 years in a row. Um, I think probably 2 years in a row, even though Aaron Donald was still here last season. But Chris Jones, number one, I had no problems with. Uh, Q Williams, Jets, Lawrence. I think Q being right here is fine. How you feel?
Q Williams number one is definitely, or number two is definitely fine. Don't think you can complain about that one at all. I don't really think there's going to be much disagreement from a defensive tackle standpoint. The top guys are very much so the top guys. Like Dexter Lawrence right below him, very very strong case. You could have him higher with Quentin, but at that point you get nitpicky. It doesn't really matter too much. Jeffrey Simmons, I mean, he could have had a really good season last year if he'd stayed healthy. It's a little unfortunate he did fall off towards the end because of his injury when he came back. But man, I mean, the top four looks really solid. You can kind of move 2 through 3 or 2 through 4 around just a little bit. I think number 5 is where you start having the question marks come into play.
Yep, Justin Matabuke for the Ravens. Last year was unranked. 26, just like all the other guys above him. Any questions about this one, Lawrence?
I mean, I thought he was. I think the Ravens' whole entire defense will probably help him be pushed higher than what he should be. Do I really think he's
Mm-hmm.
number 60 tackle overall? Or number 5? No, I think Christian Wilkins is right behind him, is arguably just a little bit better. He's definitely better on the mic'd up if you ever listen to Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Yeah, I think the Ravens defense is just so stacked that it just makes this guy's job just that much easier. And then he makes their job easier as well. It's a back and forth thing. So I'm with you right there. Wilkins probably a little bit higher. Derek Brown, your Panthers. Lawrence is number 7. How you feel about this?
Well, he just did set the record for most defensive tackles in a season, so a little disrespectful to have him so low when he just made a new record, but it is what it is. He's the only reason we can stop the run.
Uh-huh. Last year's honorable mention. This year, it's number 7. At age 26, so pretty much all your good D tackles are 26, around the 26 age. DeForest Buckner, the Colts, it's number 8. Last year was number 7, so just a slight drop off. Kenny Clark at number 9. Any problems with these two, Lawrence?
No, I agree with him. I agree. Like I said, D tackle is going to be hard to disagree with. You can kind of move
Mm-hmm.
these guys fluently throughout wherever you need to put them.
And then number 10, Javon Hargrave. I feel like the 49ers have someone at every position on defense in the top 10. It feels like they just got a stacked team. Somehow they just find the money to pay these guys. I don't know how, but that's not the here nor now. So I mean, like you said, I got no problems with this one. Being at 10 is just, if anything, it's probably just give you an edge, give you a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, being at number
Uh,
10, I think is probably because he's a 49er, not much any other
mm,
reason. I mean, you can argue that Jonathan Allen, Vita Vea, maybe even probably more so Jalen Carter, could make a way more of an argument for number 10, sneaking their way into a top 10 list.
yeah, like you said earlier, I mean, can't go wrong with any of these guys. I mean, they're all good. If your name's mentioned, you're doing good, and you're a big asset to your team. All right, well, that's all the top 10 lists for today. I think on Wednesday we will cover what's here, probably edge rushers, safeties. We're probably sneaking tight ends as well. Lawrence, anything you want to else you want to hit on before we head on out?
Well, I'm actually excited. I'm going to be playing some college football with you, seeing this new dynasty mode be made. Let's
Yeah.
see. I mean, I think I'll talk about it more on next episode, the UFC main event coming up soon. But
Oh yeah.
man, these last two UFC fight nights have just not been it. It's hard to really get into the cards they're making recently. But I mean, I'm hoping and I'm moving forward for 304 and hoping 304 really shows out.
Yeah, same. Fight nights haven't been that great, although I think we talked about the one last week. The guy just his freaking what? Not eyelid, but his eyebrow was just coming off. And then last week, I think the guy was getting beat so bad he just like he just like kind of cowered up that fight. I think it was the silver fight. Um, I don't know. I don't know the guy's name, but it was only a couple good fights here and there this past Saturday. So we'll talk about more. I think what is it, UFC 304? We'll talk more on Wednesday about that. Yeah, with that, guys, we're gonna head on out. Thank you guys for watching. Episode 105 MTL Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, listening on Spotify, all that good stuff, and we're gonna head on out. Peace.